You're listening to Forward Faster, bite-sized insights for entrepreneurs.
Good morning. We're back, and my name is Kate Meddaugh, and I'm here from the Central Library of Rochester and Monroe County to talk about the Business Insight Center with the division manager, Jennifer Byrnes. Good morning, Jen.
Kate. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And before we get started, I'd like to just reiterate that confidentiality is very important to us, and we are kind of like priests and lawyers where you need a court order for any information that is discussed between you, the listeners, and us at the Business Insight Center. So
Yes.
we respect confidentiality, and that's highly important to us.
Yeah, and that goes for all librarians, actually. So if you have, if you're a guy and you don't want anyone to find out about your Danielle Steele, addiction, that is going to be on the down low.
Yep.
No one's going to know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have no fear.
Can you tell me what is the mission of the Business Insight Center at the Central Library?
So what we do is we assist people who want to start a business or businesses that currently exist. So if you want to start a business, we can help you determine what type of legal structure you need, what information you need to have in your business plan. We can connect you to resources such as funders, mentors, anything like that. If you're an existing business and you need to learn more about your industry, what's the growth over the next 5 to 10 years look like, or you want to identify new customers, or you want to identify your competition, we can do that as well.
That is a lot of great stuff.
It's a lot, and yes, it is great.
Yeah. And how much does that cost the person who comes in and wants that?
That is free.
Free?
It is free.
All
It's
of that.
absolutely free. All free, all the time.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So you mentioned a lot of things like helping people set up their legal structures and licenses and things like that. What can't you do?
So that is a great question because we get this a lot. So what we can't do is we can't do primary research. So if you want to know how many people walk by that coffee shop every day, you're going to have to just hunker down.
Sit there and count
them. I'm not going to do that for you. There's no database or website that is going to have that information. Also, people always ask, what's the revenue for this company? If that company is privately held, you don't know you can't find anything. It's not. You'll see some numbers in different products, different databases that we use, but those are estimates. We don't know if they're in the ballpark. We don't know if the ballpark even exists.
Okay.
So the only way you can find revenue information that is accurate is if it's a publicly traded company.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can, and that's it.
Good.
We will not help you write your business plan. We can give you an example of what your business plan should look like, and we can have a business plan that matches the type of business you want to start. But we can't write that business plan for you because if you can't write a business plan,
right,
then you have no business opening a business.
Okay.
So you need to be able to articulate, your value proposition, yourself. That's nothing that we can imbue in you. That's something that you need to know. You need to be able to speak to that off the top of your head. So
what then should I have prepared if I were to come in and meet with you? You mentioned have your business plan written.
Well, I can help you with the information you need to put in your business plan.
Okay.
So if you just have this germ of an idea and you're I'm thinking about starting this kind of business, but you have, nothing on paper yet. Again, we'll start you with, here's an example of a business plan. Here's an industry survey, so, making sure that this is an industry that's actually that's viable, that has growth potential. So obviously you don't want to start a VCR repair shop, right? So what's,
right.
something
Sure.
that where it's doable, or looking at the competition and making sure that that's not a really crowded space. Things
right.
like, I want a gluten-free bakery. We're not Manhattan. We don't need that many gluten-free bakeries.
Sure.
All right. Things like that. So it's looking at how saturated the market is, to begin with, if this is even viable.
Sure. Excellent. What types of businesses do you work with?
Any type of business, whether you have one employee, or you're the sole proprietor, or you're a Fortune 500 company, it does not matter. We work with all types.
Okay. And how about size or revenue qualifications for these businesses?
No, none.
None?
Doesn't matter. And I get that a lot. They're like, because again, we said all of our services are free.
Yeah.
And large companies are like, well, at some point you're going to start charging me, right? And I'm like, no, I am not. And that's like, right?
Mind blown.
Right? It does not matter. And it's important, we do this work every day.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to do it. It's going to take us a fraction of the amount of time that it would take someone else where this isn't their job. So it allows us to do what we do well,
mm-hmm.
which is identify market research, and allows the business to do what they do well, which is run their business. And based on our skills and our resources, it's saving them a significant amount of time.
Sounds like it.
And money.
Yeah. Excellent. So you mentioned some of these resources. Can you tell me what exactly is in your toolbox?
So I have lots of tools. One of my favorite tools is Frost & Sullivan, which is typically on the very high-tech end of things, identifying new technologies, looking at, new companies. We know what the industry is going to be worth. IBIS World, it covers over 700 industries and gives you a comprehensive overview of said industry. And it'll give you, the compound annual growth rate, for the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to do a SWOT analysis. It's going to say who has the most market share if it's a concentrated industry, barriers to entry, things like that. Also, Mergent Intellect. We use that a lot to identify either potential customers. So if you're doing B2B, we can search by NAICS code, or SIC code. So that's an industrial classification. So we can search by those codes, in whatever geographic area you want. So if you want to know every single machine shop
Mm-hmm.
in the state of New York, we can tell you that. And we can give you
Excellent.
executive contacts as well. So again, that's for identifying potential customers. But you can also use that to identify your competitors as well,
Mm-hmm.
using the same structure of searching by those industry codes. For identifying consumers, we have databases where you can search on a geographic area and say, I want females between this age who are into beauty
right.
and wellness and things like that. So if you wanted to do a direct mailing, that would be one way to do that.
Mm-hmm. How about if I were interested in capital?
So that is a great question. So if you're looking to raise capital, venture capital, we have a great tool called PitchBook, and that it allows you to search by VC firms and based on what types of initiatives they're partial to. So, for example, there's one VC firm that is only deals in alcoholic beverages. So if you're, if you have some optical device, this is not the VC firm that you want to approach. So, and that will also give you contacts. Talk about who they've previously funded. So, and you can do it in the reverse order too. Say, here's a company that's very similar to mine. Who's given them money? So, and it's not just VC. It can be angels, mergers, acquisitions, whatever. So
excellent. Now you sound very, very knowledgeable in all of these databases and tools that you have. How long have you been the manager of the Business Insight Center at the library?
I can't remember. 2 years?
What's your background?
My background? It's just all over the place. So I have a master's in information and library science from the University at Buffalo School of Informatics, and I have a master's in public health from the University of Rochester School of Medicine. So everything I've done educationally, wise is very research intensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just I'm a naturally inquisitive person, and every day is kind of like a treasure hunt of finding what you need to find. And if it's findable,
Jen will find it.
I will find it.
Yeah,
and if it's
no
not
doubt.
findable, I'll tell you why.
Right.
Why you can't find that. So
Yeah, I have witnessed her magic, and Jen seriously is amazing at finding this information.
thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's true. So these tools that you mentioned, what is so special about them? I mean, you talked about what they do and kind of how they can work for the business owner, but tell me what's special about them?
Primarily the cost. These are incredibly, incredibly expensive resources. And they're so expensive that if a business, and we get, disclaimer, we get special pricing because we are a public library. But so if an individual company wanted to purchase one of these tools, you're looking at $45,000 to $75,000 a year, and that could be
A year.
That could be an employee. That could be a position.
Sure.
So would you rather give someone a job and support the local economy, or would you like to spend all this money on a tool?
It's kind of a no-brainer.
It's kind of a no-brainer. But, and also just because, again, people have this tool, that doesn't mean necessarily that they know how to search it effectively.
Right.
The other thing that's very important about them is that, they're all authoritative resources. So
Right.
when you, especially if you're presenting to a lender, any type of bank, any type of VC, and you're talking about, growth in your industry or any trends, you don't want to be like, I just Googled it.
Right.
Or my Uncle Bob told me. Like, that's not good enough, right?
No.
So you need to have authoritative information.
Right. So when people do their pitch, whether it's venture capital or to whomever, a partner or something, you need to be able to say where you got your information.
Right.
Excellent.
And a lot of people try to Google their way through like business plans and things like that, and it just can't be done. And invariably, you're going to end up on some website that says, give me $1,000 for this industry survey. Don't do it. Give us
please.
a call.
Come see Jen.
And last year we saved the community $1.5 million in market research. So we can actually calculate the amount of money.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
You think about
I know.
Goodness.
It's ridiculous. So it's obviously it's a great savings for the community. So
it most certainly is. Now, you've mentioned how expensive these databases and these resources are for the library to have, contrary to what you charge, which is $0. What can the listeners do to ensure that they still get access to this extremely vital information and resources?
That is a great question. And they can donate to the Friends and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library. Their website is ffrpl.org. And it's very important that funds are restricted to the Business Insight Center so that that makes sure that we can actually use it for those tools that they want to use. So, so restrict it to the Business Insight Center.
Excellent. And how can listeners contact you to make an appointment or to get more information?
Well, the great thing about what we do is you don't have to come to the Central Library to receive services. So
that's a beautiful thing amidst
it's a beautiful
COVID-19
thing.
Especially.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're like in pandemic mode, but for me, it's just standard operating procedure because you can just call us at 428-8130, or you can email us at business.insight@libraryweb.org. Again, that's business.insight@libraryweb.org. Let us know what you're looking for. Everything I'm going to send you is going to be in a PDF or an Excel file. We don't typically, the information that most people need is not going to be in a book.
Right.
And usually just an email will suffice, or if I have a question, quick phone call. So they don't need to come in, but if they want to, they're more than welcome, but not right now, obviously, because
we're closed to the public.
Pandemic.
Indefinitely.
So, yes, indefinitely. We're closed indefinitely. So, but we're still, business as usual.
Good.
And supporting our companies out there. So
excellent. Jennifer Byrnes, the Division Manager of the Business Insight Center at the Central Library. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, guys.